What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling out there, man? Subscribe to the page, hit the like, do whatever you could possibly do. Yo, this is crazy. Now, I know this world is it's on some things where as though we don't understand what happens a lot. You know, things take place in the world where as though we get the news, but we don't really get the news. We don't really stay up on the news. We don't pay attention to the news. We don't really get the full of the story. We get the story of how somebody else told us and their expressions and then they full outfit and everything. We don't really understand really what happens. I always say that this world is very, very tricky, very misleading. You know, you will probably think it's one way, but it's a totally other. It's a totally other way. I see every single day, and I tell people this all the times. I see young kids every day, and they ask me they got this going on in their lives, and they got this going on in his lives, and I said it's crazy because in school, when you're going to school, you got a teacher, and when you're a kid, you got your mom and you got your dad. Then you make your way to school and you got a teacher. I should have started off this way first. Then you make your way to school and you got a teacher. And you go through the stages of life. But you never understand when you're a kid how much this world really don't care about you. And it's so misleading. You know, they tell you as a kid, everybody has a dream and follow your dreams and follow this and strive to be the best and do this and do that. They tell you this all the time. But it's so amazing how nobody really explains to you that nobody don't care. It's so amazing. Nobody explains to you that. It's amazing how misleading and how misleading a world that we're living in, how misleading this world is. How misleading this world is. We would really think that we belong in a system or we belong to a system that needs us to survive. When for real, the system will gobble you up and spit you out and go on to the next person. The system don't need you to survive. And a lot of times when we growing up inside, I think a lot of poor people that's growing up, you know, we get sold the fact or we get told a million times how important or how important a situation is or how important this is to us or how important this is to us. When for real, none of this is not important. I think I think poor people learn a lesson and get out of that earlier than rich people, but poor people feel the issue of not being supported. Nobody's not caring about them. Nobody's not understanding how this thing. Nobody's not. Is the chat turned off again? How did that happen? I don't know. Yo, hey Gary, if you listen and text me and tell me if the chat turned off. Yeah, but it's just amazing how that takes place. You know what I mean? So when when I say stuff like that, this world is misleading. The way that it's misleading is that as being a kid, they tell you that people cares about your dreams. People cares about what you do for a living. People care about when nothing is really set up. Banking systems, all jail systems, uh, nothing is set up for you, the outcome of the good. It's always set up for the outcome of the bad. They only profit when they do something bad to you. They only profit if they take your house and resell it and make money. You paying for a car. The only way the people will make big money off of it is if you don't finish paying for this car and you get it taken and the credit people got to pay us full price for the car even though you just pay out your pocket how much this car is this, and then that it don't benefit nobody in this world to help you out. And that's what is very misleading in this world, because so many situations you would think when you press help, it's there to help you, but most of the time it's not. That's why African Americans don't like the police or don't even dial 911. Most of us would take ourselves to the hospital, even if we're dying, we'll drive the car because we just don't support people that want to help us. We don't understand that, because every time when we called for help, the help lifeline was always a bad lifeline. The help was always not good. And the way that it will mislead you, it misleads you in every aspect of the world. This world will mislead you in every aspect of your entire life. This world will mislead you. If we look at it as a world standpoint, or if we look at it as United States standpoint, in the United States, as an African American, you might think being beat up by the cops is one of the biggest things in the world, and the misjustice of African Americans. But in the world standpoint, we're not even being mistreated. We got countries that's starving. You got countries that's starving. We got, you know, countries that's being bombed, countries that's being, we got all these things. So when I say that this thing is very misleading and to African American, you might really think the cop situation and gang situation, like you might think that 57th Street is the baddest block in the world, man. 52nd Street, these niggas is crazy. But it's a kid that's growing up in Afghanistan that shot a rocket launcher before. So you think you gangster. So whatever you do, that beat. Master trainer used to tell me it's always somebody out there that can whoop your ass. And that's one of the truest things. Don't never get too cocky or sell a story that's so I'm the worst in this situation, because it's always somebody that's better than you. Now, how they trick you with this misleading is very important. They make you think that you're doing better than what you think you are. This is for the dividing of poor people. They make you think that you're doing better than what you actually think you are. So when you're being misleaded and being tricked and being fooled and being mis and being and being lied to, when all these things is happening, being tricked, misleaded, fooled, lied to, deceived, when all these things is happening, by the government on a United States standpoint, when they're doing this to you, you're believing it. I'm living in the worst situation ever. I'm living in this. I'm living in that. Man, I'm living in this and I'm living in that. But when you look at it as a world standpoint, it's not even serious. We hold more power than what we think we do as poor people in America. Poor people in America hold more power, even though we're living in a land that is very rich. So when we're talking about poor, we are rich poor. We're a rich poor. I seen where was he from? Was it Indonesia? Wherever he was from. I forgot the place he's from, but he was so amazed that a bum had the subway vents to sleep on. He was like, "It's nowhere to get this. When you're a bum in my country, it's nowhere comfortable where you got heat. You just freezing." And it's just like, wow, it's standing to being a bum. And I'm not trying to be funny, but this is real. It's it's two. It's forget two sides. It's so many sides to this. What they said, we live in a 11 dimensions, including time and space. So if we live in 11 dimensions, inside those dimensions, you have corks. Do you understand? You We have to stop thinking, and this is as poor people all over the world. We have to stop thinking what our government is telling us is 100% true. It's not. Most of our governments is here to mislead us. It's here to sell us our dream. The Democrats is here to sell African Americans, you're poor. You're being treated bad. You're right. There's not no good jobs out here. So you have to be on welfare. So you have to be on this. This is what the Democrats, the Republicans is here to sell you. Pick yourself off your bootstraps. You got to do what you got to do to make it. You got to be a American for American. Everybody can do it. That everybody have alternative goal to mislead you. It might be the good for the good, misleading you for good to make their country continue to run. Because if you really believe that one single soul is more important than the idea of America, they're not going to stop the idea of America for one single soul, for a couple 100,000 souls. They don't care about that. They don't care about that. You will never, and I'm starting to see this as much as I read, and you will never beat the United States government. I hear a lot of brothers say about how they're, you know what I mean? Man, we taking it to the government. We gonna sue the government. It's crazy because, you know, all over the world in certain places in China, you can't even go up against your government. You can't even go up against your government. In Russia, you can't even go up against your government. You better keep your mouth shut. In Saudi Arabia, you better keep your mouth shut. So when people say, "Oh man, we being suppressed by our government. This is ridiculous. I get it. Keep complaining, because you will out pursue freedom. I will never tell nobody to pursue freedom, but actually sometimes sit back and don't be so quick to hate the environment that you're living in. If that makes any sense. Sit back and enjoy it sometimes. Understand that you might be in a privileged situation. You might be in a situation where as though this is a one-time deal. This don't happen too often. You know what I mean? Where a lot of people wake up at some parts in Africa, they don't know if they're going to eat today. Now, I'm not saying every part in Africa. Of course, I'm not saying that, because I'll have some people cut me up saying, you said some parts of Africa, and then send me pictures. And of course, I'm not saying that. I've been all over the world. I'm not being an idiot. I'm basically saying that wherever you believe that you're you're in a bad situation, just know it's somebody in this world that's in a better situation than you. I really believe Americans, it's American ignorance, American blindness, and I even and people crucify me for this. I believe African Americans have some of the baddest American ignorance in the world, especially some of the Hebrew Israelites. Uh, some of the comedic teachers too. I believe that they have some of the most baddest American ignorance. You talk certain stuff because you've been all over the world, but have you been submerged in it? hold, why are they driving military tanks? Have you been to France and dug through their history and actually cared? Not say, oh, they took this from this person, they took this. No, cared about the story that they actually told. I really believe all of us, when I talk to people, is misled. All of us is misled at one point. The world is very misleading. This world will mislead you down a road there's no coming back from. I know a lot of people think that it's hurtful. You know, I get a lot of people all over. They always say, you know, this world is hurtful. It crumble you up and spit you out. And this is a lot of people in America. So just imagine being born in Yemen without your life means nothing. Your life, a Yemen life means nothing. I was talking to this guy one day and we was talking about African Americans and I was like, it's crazy. My kids don't have the same shot as your kids. And he was like, Isaiah, that's why I fight every day. He's a white guy. He's a city council. But he was like, Isaiah, that's why I fight every day. So one day, no, he said, so hopefully your kids won't have to grow up like you grew up with racial profiling. And I said, yeah, I understand. And then I sat there and I thought about what he said. And it struck me. It was horrifying. He said, your kids. I said, man. And I'm not knocking him. That's why I won't say his name. I'm not knocking him because he's right. That's a realistic time. He gave me a realistic time. But the thing is that he said, your kids. That means I have to go into this position knowing that my kids might be killed by a racist cop or might be racial profile or might be sent to prison over race issues or might be very hurtful. Very hurtful. You know, and just to understand that this is the world that we live in. It's hurtful, it's misleading a lot. When you realize that it's misleading, how you fix that is 100% the difference. 100% the difference. A 100% the difference. And and the chapters of people's lives, when you see them they're misled and you see it I see it every day. I see Democrats every single day. I see them every single day being misled. Republicans being misled by a government system, being tricked into a government system. Even though the government runs your reality. Let's be real. The government runs your reality. But certain factions of the government runs your reality. Arguing about a border wall and $5.1 billion is never going to affect you. That's what I had to tell a lot of people that I talk to. Because I'm sitting up here talking to you, brother. So that border wall is not going to affect you. Some people don't even believe that it's some people don't even know that it is an existing border wall there. It's 700 and some odd miles or 600 and some odd miles of already existing border wall. But it's very misleading when they mislead the facts and tell you that Donald Trump wants to make a border wall. And a lot of uneducated people believe it's no wall. Why would he want to put a wall up against them? No. No. They didn't tell you all the facts. And the thing is, you didn't care to look. You didn't care to look about all the facts. You it's crazy how we were researched baby out of what's new on the news. What's new on this? What's new on that? We'll research stuff, but when it talks about controlling your life, the controlment of your life. In the 60s, they were so caught up. And this is real. I wanted in the 60s, you guys, they were so caught up with time. In the 60s, they were so caught up with time. And I know y'all, what do that mean? They was caught up with time. They lived in the era that they was living in. That is very hard for us. The era that we live in now is what's next. The era that they lived in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s is what's now. If a lot of this news would have broke arms race, you hear a nuclear arms race and you hear you see no tweets about this on Jay-Z, Beyonce. And when I go back into 60s and I watch some of the cool cats back then, Frank Sinatra, I watch some of the situations that was going on back then in the 50s and the 40s and around when you had an arms race or you had some type of nuclear incentives or Hiroshima, what was going on inside Nicaragua and Hiroshima and what was going on inside certain parts of the world, France and Germany, when the news broadcast that, it was one of the most biggest things in the world. We was on it. But now there's so many celebrities, there's so many TV shows, there's so many things that catch your interest a day. You wouldn't even know if the world was on fire. Because there's not no cool meme about it. Think about half of the things that pop up in your timeline when you at work. It's bullshit. Or it's something about the government that's 100% misleading. I don't care what side it's from. The left or the right or the up or the down or whatever side it's from. It's 100% misleading. And then you start asking yourself, how much of this information is some people retaining and saying that this is facts? We got a lot of people out here that loving hip hop, NBA, NFL, rap. That's it. Loving hip hop, NBA, NFL, rap. That's it. Name football players. That's the only thing they want to do. Go to work, come home. That's the only thing. That's the American dream. That's the American life. That's what we have shaped America. Sunday night football, Sunday morning football. That's what we have shaped America into being. That life is 100% misleading. Done around the world. While America is out here slaughtering people, bombing people, doing dirt, slaying, taking jewels from Africa, taking things from places so you can look on TV and you can talk and you can while your government is doing that, you are being misled with the greatness of Facebook and going live on YouTube and podcasts and none of these things is used as a tool to help you. I was talking to my cousin today and we was talking something and I was like, yo, I was like, damn. No, that's what happened. He wrote me something because I was doing something with my cousin or whatever. And I try to get him to write. So I was like, yo, Write me a letter, stick it inside my mailbox, and when I get home from work, I'm gonna read it and blah blah blah, whatever. And one of the words was spelled incorrect, and I seen it, and I called him, and I'm like, "Yo, you spelled such and such wrong." He was like, "Yeah," and I said, "Yo," I said, "I questioned a man character," and he says, "Why?" Why? And I said, "I question a man character when you spell something wrong." And I'm talking to you right now, and you're on the iPhone. And when I first called you, I said, you knew you kind of spelled that word wrong. And the only thing you had to do was say it into the iPhone, and it was going to show you the spelling of it, and could have wrote it the right way. I knew your phone was right next to you when you wrote this letter. I quite knew that, but you was too lazy. When I was a kid, I had to go get the dictionary. I had to sound the word out, break down the syllables of the word, and find a word in the actual dictionary. A legit made you a legit speller. It's a microwave society, and these kids still don't even want to press the button. And that's why they're able to mislead us like this. In 2020, they're still misleading us on segregation and race. They're still and when you understand what I'm saying, I know they're saying, no, well, it's racist people. I understand that. But they're still we're calling the Chinese, Asians, Vietnamese, right? Chinese people. We call them Chinese people, right? We trade with the Chinese. What we trade? Still with them. We trade all the stuff that comes from China, right? Right? We trade with the Africans. We don't trade, we take. So they take with the Africans, right? They take all this great stuff from Africa. They take all this gold, take all this diamonds and coltan and plethora of stills and metals and do what they need to do with these type of things, right? All of these places that they take these great things from and they steal and they take their foot to the floor. All of the places that they do this, all of the places that these things take place. When are when is it going to be a place in the world that's not to the extent of I don't know how I want to say that. I don't know how I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to keep that to myself because and this is what and this is and I'm sorry guys. I do this a lot. So I don't say things because sometimes I ramble a lot. And this is a podcast and this is my podcast, so I get to ramble all the F I want. So when I ramble a lot of true feelings come out and I forget that the camera is on. So I take that out. But I just really want us to understand the issues of where we're living at and the time and what we're living at and understand we're not going to be misled no more as in people, what I mean, all over the world. You got Chinese, you got Russians, you got Cubans, Puerto Ricans. You have a standpoint of people. If you go to America, you got white people running America, right? Of course, when you're not in the system, you're going to be pushed to the back. It's just how the system works. Of course, you can put systematic racism in it when it's majority of white people. How the system works is to mislead you and make you think it's a difference between white and black at the bottom end of poor. Even though it is. It is a difference, but it's not really a difference when it comes to all over the world because we're willing to trade in certain parts of the world with no racial issues. It might be, you might feel as though that we have a racial issue with Mexico. It's us. We're willing to trade with Africa when we don't. When somebody actually is well, we got some trade deals that we don't bully them over, but whatever. I will keep that to myself too. But we're willing to trade with them when we're not bullying them. It's no type of racial issue. Race is something set up in America, set up all in places all over the world, but it's something. The way that it's designed in America is very unique. It's very unique because it's an issue that we have that's real, but that was created. And I know that we all understand. I say we understand it's created, but you don't understand to the levels of how it's created. You don't understand to the levels of how this situation is created. Race is created. Even at one point, they said that we separated white from black, so when we have poor, we can know it's different from being poor black than poor white. It's almost a $30,000 difference. Think poor black is 35,000, poor white is 65, or no, poor white is 82,000. Poor black, no. Poor white. Let's Google this. Let's get a number on poor white. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, we have to understand poor white versus poor black. So we know that it's a difference. We know it's a difference between being poor and black than it is being poor and white. And that was set up to mislead you. Not to set up because we hate niggas. Even though the children's started setting up that because of that. But it was set up at the original government. It was set up to mislead you. And I don't even think that the government hate niggas. I don't even think that the racist people hate niggas. Racist America. The system hate niggas. I think the system don't care. I think the system of America don't care. It's just designed so you can't never climb up the ladder. But do they care? No. But it's already designed so you can never climb up the ladder. So that's why they don't care. We have to move past a point where as though we can talk past misleading and deceiving and alternate facts. Because 2020, we're walking right into a place where though, and if nobody sees this, I know a lot of people is not up on this curve. If nobody don't see this government is running us right into a smack dab wall. Republican, Democrat, they're running us into a wall. The government is running us into a wall. If we don't have a new party in government, and if this new socialism party kicks out, we definitely going into a wall. Everybody will be making the same amount of money. Everything will be a plane, and then you'll really be a drone. It's what we do. And I had to, where do we go from here? That was one of my podcasts. What do we do now plays an important role on how our life and our kids' lives and their kids' lives will be affected. We cannot be misled. Right now, we cannot be misled. And I see that it's happening. I see this happening with a lot with our elders, even if they're into religion or into politics or into music or into. I see it happen with our elders. I hear people like Puff Daddy and you gotta work hard for the goal, work hard for the achieve the goal, achieve the goal, achieve the goal, get the money, get the bag, get the. I hear what is retaining a bag with no family wealth. I know that you're trying to build family wealth, but what is retaining a bag? We have to start promoting family. What is using music? And I know the minister Louis Farrakhan said we have to use music, especially hip hop. That's a good way to transcend us out of that. And I agree with a lot of things the minister Farrakhan said, but I disagree with that. I really feel as though hip hop was given to us by America to destroy us. And at first we played hip hop, but now hip hop is continuous to play us. You look at people like you got a situation where 21 Savage has just Jay-Z has just took on the case of 21 Savage. And you have people like Meek Mills get out of jail. And these guys, I actually know a lot of these I respect these guys, but when the elite hang out with the elite, it only helps the elite. It only helps black wealth is not even 1%. Out of a 13% population, black wealth is not even 1%. African American wealth in the world don't even exist. Can you imagine African American wealth in the world don't even exist in a percentage standard? Because you got to talk about family wealth when you start talking about that. And none of our families it's families. You can tell me Oprah, but Oprah is the first one out of her family. So that's not a generation of wealth. That's where they fool you. They make you think that, you have Oprah. You have Michael Jordan. You name it one generation of family. Why I name you the Rockefellers? Why I name you the Clintons? Why I name you the Trump? When I name a generations of families that is rich. When you name me Oprah, Michael Jordan, it's smack in the face. It's a smack in the face. You're comparing Oprah with Donald Trump, generation. And I'm not saying that she's not richer than him, because I know people going to Oprah got more money than. It's not about that. It's about being generationally rich. And until I'm not saying Oprah name, I'm saying her daughter name. Until we accomplish that, like run like Russell Simmons, until I'm saying his kid's name, then we're accomplishing something. Then we're moving to something. But if black excellence is only hanging around other black excellence, that's a bad thing. And I'm not talking about building people to be the next rappers, building people to be a lawyer, building people to be financial advisors, building teachers, building teachers is some of the beautiful things that we need in our community. Building police officers, building detectives, building people that's really here to help our community. Black wealth don't go nowhere when it's around each other. It goes nowhere. It's a very, very misleading world and a very misleading time that we're going through. If you can look at it as a United States standpoint, or you can look at it a world standpoint, any way you look at it, it's a very, very misleading world. Tomorrow, man, we're gonna come at y'all with misleading part 2, and I'm gonna actually pick something that's actually misleading, and this is gonna be the episodes of misleading. And that's what we're going to start it off with. Very misleading world. And this is the episodes of misleading. We're going to probably have 2 weeks of this, and then we'll go on to something else. I just want to start doing little episodes, try to mix it up, man. We can go into a lot of things with misleading, But first, we're gonna start going into cultural standpoints and how cultural standpoints were misleading all over the world, and the world just misleads us. You know what I mean? They make us think that it's certain things exist, certain things is smart, certain things is the way that we should be thinking. And it's like when you really think on a world standpoint and you understand that what that don't even make sense. Like some people say climate change don't, and then you read on a world standpoint, and then you understand that climate change happened. But people that only reads American news will never think climate change is real, because you're living in a you're a one-dimensional being living in an 11-dimensional world. Hurts. All right, y'all. We talk to y'all later, man. Holla at y'all later.